You think you know Europe. You know the cities, the history, the castles. But you're missing the true masterpiece. Forget the museums. This is Europe's wild side. We're trading cobblestones for canyons, cathedrals for colossal cliffs. From the fire and ice of the far north to the turquoise secrets of the Mediterranean south, these are the natural wonders that forged a continent. Get ready to see Europe not through the lens of man, but through the power of Mother Nature. Mount Elbrus, Russia. Every continent has its giant, and in Europe, that giant is Mount Elbrus. Rising 5,642 meters above sea level, this dormant volcano in Russia's Caucasus Mountains is the highest peak in Europe and one of the legendary 7 summits. Elbrus is actually a double-peaked volcano formed more than 1 million years ago, though it hasn't erupted in modern history. Its twin domes are permanently capped with glaciers that feed dozens of rivers, making it a vital water source for the region. The mountain's name likely comes from the Persian Alborz, meaning high guardian. For centuries, it has been both a physical and symbolic landmark, visible from hundreds of kilometers away, a beacon for explorers and poets alike. Elbrus is a global mountaineering destination, though its unpredictable weather and high-altitude challenge even seasoned climbers. But Elbrus is more than a mountaineer goal. It's a meeting of cultures. The surrounding valleys are home to diverse peoples: Karakas, Balkars, and Circassians, each with their own legends about the Mountain of Spirits. On clear mornings, sunlight turns the snowcaps to gold. At night, stars seem close enough to touch. Standing on Elbrus feels like standing at the edge of Europe, where earth, sky, and myth converge. Lake Sevan, Armenia. High in the Armenian mountains lies a body of water so vast it's often called the Sea of Armenia. Lake Sevan, sitting at nearly 1,900 meters above sea level, is one of the largest freshwater high-altitude lakes in the world. Formed by volcanic activity thousands of years ago, the lake covers about 1,240 square kilometers, a shimmering turquoise expanse surrounded by peaks that catch the morning light like silver. It's the heart of Armenia's ecosystem and spirit, both geographically and culturally. Ancient kings built their summer palaces along its shores, and monasteries soon followed. The most famous, Savannahvank, stands on a peninsula that was once an island, built in the 9th century by Princess Mariam. Its dark basalt churches rise against the blue of the lake, creating one of the most striking views in the Caucasus. Historically, Sevan has been both a blessing and a challenge. During the Soviet era, the lake's level dropped drastically due to water diversion projects, threatening its delicate balance. In recent years, Armenia has worked to restore it, recognizing Sevan as vital for biodiversity, water supply, and national identity. The lake is home to the endemic Sevan trout, revered for centuries, and its surrounding meadows burst with wildflowers in summer. In winter, the surface freezes, transforming into a still, white mirror under the mountains. Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland. The Giant's Causeway, this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, renowned for its unique geological formations consisting of about 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, formed as the result of an ancient volcanic fissure eruption. Located on the northeast coast of Northern Ireland, the site is surrounded by mythology. Legend says it was built by the Irish giant Finn McCool to fight his rival, the Scottish giant Bonandanir, across the Irish Sea. The story was first documented by Irish monks during the medieval period. You can explore the stunning coastal scenery and the rich history of the area, with the columns creating natural stepping stones that lead from the cliff foot and disappear under the sea. The site also features the Giant's Causeway Visitor Center, where interactive exhibits delve into the geological origins and the myths surrounding this natural wonder. For the adventurous, a walk along the nearby Causeway coastal route provides breathtaking views of rugged cliffs and the wild Atlantic Ocean. Kazbegi National Park, Georgia. This highland kingdom in northern Georgia is where the Caucasus Mountains rise like a crown over Europe and Asia. Here, every valley, every ridge, and every gust of wind carries a story older than memory. Stretching across more than 9,000 hectares near the Russian border, Kazbegi, officially known as Stepan Sminda, is the beating heart of the Georgian highlands. It's a land of snow-capped volcanoes, green pastures, ancient trails, and timeless faith. At its center towers Mount Kazbek, standing 5,047 meters tall. This dormant volcano is Georgia's second highest peak and one of the most photogenic summits in the Caucasus. According to Georgian legend, this is where Prometheus was chained by the gods for giving fire to humanity. And when you see the mountain glowing at sunrise, it's easy to believe the myth, Kazbek feels alive. Clinging to a grassy ridge at 2,170 meters, right beneath the snow line, stands Gurgati Trinity Church, one of the most iconic landmarks in the entire Caucasus. Built in the 14th century, this solitary church has seen centuries of storms, wars, and pilgrims. During invasions, it served as a sanctuary for sacred relics. From here, the view of Kazbek's summit is so close it feels divine, as though heaven and earth meet in one frame. Just beyond the church, the Gurgati Glacier glistens in the high mountain light, a field of ancient ice that feeds the Terek River far below. Trekking to its base is both a challenge and a revelation. The air grows thinner, the terrain more rugged, and every step brings you closer to the mountain's eternal silence. But Kazbegi is a mosaic of valleys and rivers that hold the region's wild soul. Southwest of Stepan Sminda lies the Trousseau Valley, an otherworldly landscape of limestone cliffs, mineral springs, and abandoned stone villages. Streams of calcium-rich water paint the ground in surreal shades of orange, white, and turquoise, natural art drawn by the earth itself. Once home to small communities, Trousseau is now mostly silent, except for the hum of wind through empty towers and the murmur of bubbling springs. It feels like stepping into a forgotten chapter of time. To the east lies Juda Valley, one of the highest inhabited places in Georgia at nearly 2,200 meters. It's a realm of alpine meadows and wildflowers, backed by the sharp peaks of the chalky massif, often called the Georgian Dolomites. In summer, horses graze under endless skies, and hikers follow winding trails to hidden lakes and ridgelines. But perhaps the most dramatic feature of Kazbegi is Daryali Gorge, often called the Gate of the Caucasus. This deep canyon cuts through sheer cliffs that rise hundreds of meters above the roaring Terek River. For thousands of years, it's been the main passage between Russia and Georgia, a route of empires, armies, and explorers. Ancient chroniclers described it as a road between worlds. Just north of the gorge lie the Gvalidi waterfalls, two cascades hidden in a lush ravine near the village of Gvalidi. The name means place of snakes, though the only thing that strikes you today is their power and beauty. The smaller fall tumbles gently through moss-covered rock, while the larger one crashes from nearly 35 meters high, filling the canyon with mist and thunder. Together, these landscapes form more than a park. They form a story of fire and ice, faith and endurance, solitude and connection. Lake Como, Italy. Imagine a lake so calm it mirrors the sky, framed by snow-tipped mountains and elegant villas. This is Lake Como, northern Italy's jewel. A place where nature and culture embrace with timeless grace. Formed by ancient glaciers, Lake Como plunges to depths of over 400 meters, making it one of Europe's deepest lakes. Its distinctive Y-shaped cradles charming towns like Bellagio, Varenna, and Menaggio, each a patchwork of pastel facades and cobblestone streets. Roman nobles once built villas here to escape the heat of Milan, but its fame truly blossomed during the Renaissance. Artists, composers, and poets, from Leonardo da Vinci to Verdi, found inspiration in the lake's tranquil beauty. Even today, it remains a magnet for dreamers, filmmakers, and travelers seeking serenity. The lake has witnessed history unfold along its shores. In 1945, Italian dictator Benito Mussolini was captured near Dongo, marking the final chapter of World War II in Italy. Yet despite such dark moments, Como has always returned to calm, like the surface of its waters after a storm. Its mild microclimate nurtures exotic gardens, camellias, cypresses, and olive trees, all thriving in the alpine air. Boat rides reveal the full grandeur of the lake, where snow-capped peaks meet reflections of ancient villas like Villa del Balbianello, a cinematic icon seen in Star Wars and James Bond. Lake Como is more than luxury. It's a harmony of nature and history, a quiet rhythm between mountains and time. Soma National Park, Estonia. Have you ever heard of a fifth season? Not spring, summer, autumn, or winter, but a mysterious flood season that turns an entire landscape into a watery wilderness. Welcome to Soma National Park in Estonia, where nature bends the rules. Each year, melting snow and heavy rains flood the park's meadows and forests, creating what locals call Vise Ostieg, the fifth season. Villages become islands, roads vanish beneath calm waters, and locals navigate by canoes instead of cars. It's one of Europe's rare ecosystems where life depends on the rhythm of floods. covering more than 390 square kilometers. Soma is a refuge for beavers, elk, and golden eagles. The name Soma means land of bogs, and indeed, this park is famous for its vast peat bogs, natural sponges that store carbon and purify water. Some bogs here are over 10,000 years old, forming after the Ice Age when glaciers retreated and left behind shallow basins. It's not just about the scenery, Soma is also a cultural landscape. Ancient wooden dugout canoes called hubyas have been carved from single tree trunks for centuries. In Soma, silence has a voice. A whisper of wind through birch trees, the splash of a beaver's tail, or the distant call of a crane echoing over misty waters. Bohemian Paradise, Czech Republic. This is the first protected landscape area in the Czech Republic, established here in 1955. Bohemian Paradise, or Český Raj, is a dreamlike region of sandstone towers, deep pine forests, and romantic valleys stretching between Ichin and Trnov. The nickname Paradise was first used in the 19th century by Czech poets and artists, enchanted by its mystical scenery. Among its most famous formations are the Prachov Rocks, which rise like a labyrinth of stone cathedrals sculpted by millions of years of erosion. Beyond geology, the area is dotted with medieval castles, like Trotsky Castle, perched dramatically on two volcanic plugs that look like giant horns, and Coast Castle, hidden in a forested valley. The UNESCO-listed Geopark Bohemian Paradise preserves not just nature, but also centuries of human history, from prehistoric settlements to Baroque chateaus. In the 19th century, Czech national revivalists and artists visited here for inspiration, painting its landscapes and embedding it into national identity. Today, hikers walk trails once taken by romantic poets and explore viewpoints like Mariánska Velika, where sandstone pinnacles stretch toward the sky. Curonian Spit National Park, Lithuania. Along Lithuania's coast, the Curonian Spit National Park, there is a surreal ribbon of sand stretching between the Baltic Sea and the Curonian Lagoon. This narrow strip, almost 100 kilometers long, was shaped by wind and waves over 5,000 years ago. Its shifting dunes rise like golden mountains, some over 60 meters high, making it one of the largest moving sand dune systems in Europe. The spit is shared by Lithuania and Russia's Kaliningrad region, a living border of nature that connects two nations through one fragile ecosystem. But these dunes have a memory. Centuries ago, entire fishing villages were buried by the relentless wind. Locals still speak of ghost forests, places where old trees re-emerge from the sand after decades of being swallowed. In the 19th century, reforestation efforts began to stabilize the dunes. Pine trees were planted to anchor the sand, saving the spit from disappearing into the sea. Today, the park's landscapes are protected under UNESCO World Heritage status, not only for their beauty but for the story of human survival against nature's forces. Birdwatchers find paradise here. The Curonian Spit lies on one of Europe's largest migration routes, where millions of birds pass every spring and autumn. At sunset, the dunes glow in tones of amber and rose, a reminder that even the most delicate landscapes can hold timeless strength. Hallstatt, Austria. The postcard-perfect houses clinging to cliffs in this tiny European village, combined with the dramatic surrounding landscape, create one of the most unforgettable natural settings. Hallstatt sits on the edge of Hallstatter Sea, a deep glacial lake carved by Ice Age glaciers and fed by alpine springs and mountain runoff. The lake itself reaches depths of over 120 meters, and its crystal-clear waters are home to a variety of cold water fish like lake trout and char. Reflections of the towering Dockstein Mountains ripple across the surface, creating mirror-like images that shift with every change in light and season. Towering directly behind the village is the Dockstein Massif, a jagged limestone range that rises to nearly 3,000 meters. Its steep walls and cliffs create a natural amphitheater around Hallstatt, making the town feel both protected and dwarfed by the massive scale of nature. The area is rich in karst formations, limestone terrain shaped by water, resulting in caves, underground streams, and vertical sinkholes. The air in Hallstatt is notably pure, thanks to limited road traffic and environmental protections. Seasonal changes bring new character to the landscape. Spring bursts with wildflowers, summer brings shimmering lake days, autumn paints the forests gold, and winter blankets everything in quiet snow. This profound fusion of alpine grandeur and an iconic village truly makes Hallstatt a place of unparalleled beauty. Bay of Kotor, Montenegro. Could a bay be mistaken for a fjord? The Bay of Kotor in Montenegro often is a dramatic inlet of the Adriatic Sea that feels more Nordic than Mediterranean. But its beauty is uniquely Balkan, steep limestone mountains plunging into mirror-like waters, dotted with medieval towns frozen in time, shaped by ancient tectonic movements and sea floods. This natural harbor has sheltered civilizations for over 2 millennia. The Romans, Byzantines, Venetians, and Ottomans all left their mark. But the most visible legacy comes from Venice, whose lion symbol still guards the city gates of Kotor. Inside the walled old town, narrow stone alleys open into sunlit squares, churches, and fortresses. The Cathedral of St. Tryphon, built in 1166, stands as a masterpiece of Romanesque architecture and local devotion. Above, the San Giovanni Fortress climbs high into the mountain, 1,350 steps of history offering views that feel eternal. The bay itself tells a story of resilience. In 1979, a massive earthquake struck the region, devastating much of Kotor. The town was rebuilt and later honored as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Just offshore lie tiny islets, Our Lady of the Rocks and St. George, one man-made, one natural. The first was built by sailors who, according to legend, dropped stones into the sea after each successful voyage until an island rose. Even today, locals reenact the ritual every July. The Bay of Kotor is more than a view. It's a dialogue between sea, stone, and spirit. Eryri National Park, Wales. Imagine a place where every mountain peak seems to hold a story, and every valley whispers of ancient times. Welcome to Eryri National Park, or Snowdonia, a vast protected landscape covering over 2,000 square kilometers in North Wales. At its heart rises Snowdon, or Uro Vithwa, the highest mountain in Wales at 1,085 meters. According to legend, its summit is the resting place of Rhithta Gower, a giant defeated by King Arthur himself. Thousands hike its trails each year, following paths once walked by miners, poets, and adventurers. For climbers seeking adventure, Tryfan stands tall, its summit crowned by two rocky pillars known as Adam and Eve. Tradition holds that those brave enough to leap between them earn the freedom of the mountain. Yet Eryri's magic lies not just in its summits, but in its glacial valleys and shimmering lakes. G'Sryn Idval, nestled within Cam Idval, is steeped in both science and legend. This valley, scarred by Ice Age glaciers, was studied by Charles Darwin, who drew evidence of glaciation from its dramatic cliffs. But the local tale is far more haunting. Prince Idval, drowned in its waters, is said to linger in spirit here. Further south, Cadair Idris, the chair of Idris the Giant, looms over Talarkson Lake, its amphitheater-like cliffs inspiring myths that anyone who sleeps upon its summit will awaken either a poet or a madman. Nearby lies G'Sryn Tegid, or Bala Lake, the largest natural lake in Wales. Scientists know it for the Gwyniad, a rare fish species found nowhere else on Earth, while folklore insists a monster named Tegi haunts its depths. The story of water power continues with two of Wales' most spectacular waterfalls. Swallow Falls, near Betusa Coed, is a cascade of the River Causeway crashing through wooded gorges, splitting into multiple white torrents. It is one of the most photographed waterfalls in the country. A little further north lies the mighty Aber Falls, or Rhyaider Wawar, tumbling 37 meters from the Carnadai Mountains into a lush valley. Archaeology reveals Bronze Age settlements near its base, showing that humans have long been drawn to this dramatic site. The falls are especially enchanting in spring when wildflowers bloom along the riverbanks, and in winter when cold snaps transform them into frozen sculptures of ice. And when the mountains finally meet the sea, the golden sands of Barmouth Beach stretch wide, a favorite for Victorians who came here by train seeking fresh sea air. Eryri is more than a park. It is a living museum of geology, folklore, wildlife, and human history, woven together. Goja National Park, Latvia. This is Latvia's first and largest national park. Stretching along the Goja River Valley, this park covers more than 900 square kilometers of wild, layered beauty. The landscape was carved by glaciers over 10,000 years ago, leaving behind steep ravines, caves, and colorful cliffs that glow orange, red, and gold in the sunlight. The Gauja River itself is the park's lifeline, meandering through dense pine forests and past ancient strongholds. But Goya is not just a natural wonder. It's also a window into Latvia's deep history. The valley was once a trade route of the Livonian order, and medieval fortresses still stand watch over the river. Turaida Castle, built in 1214, remains one of the best preserved in the Baltics. Its name means Garden of God in the ancient Livonian language, a fitting title for a place where nature and heritage intertwine. In spring and summer, the park blooms with wildflowers and the songs of over 150 bird species. In autumn, it transforms into a mosaic of amber and crimson, a favorite time for hikers and kayakers. Beneath the surface, over 500 caves, including the legendary Gutmani's Cave, hold centuries of stories, inscriptions, and folklore. Białowieża Forest, Poland and Belarus. What if you could walk through the last remaining primeval forest in Europe, unchanged since the Ice Age? That's exactly what you experience in Białowieża Forest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and Biosphere Reserve straddling the border between Poland and Belarus. This ancient woodland spans over 1,500 square kilometers and is home to a staggering variety of biodiversity, including 12,000 species of animals and over 1,000 species of plants. But its most famous residents are the European bison, the continent's largest land mammals, reintroduced here after going extinct in the wild in the early 20th century. The forest was once a royal hunting ground for Polish kings and later for Russian Tsars. Even during both world wars, it was carefully guarded. In fact, Nazi officials preserved the forest for their own hunting use, unintentionally protecting its ecosystems. Today, parts of the Polish side are designated as a strict nature reserve, accessible only with a guide, making it a living laboratory of ecological processes. You'll find fallen trees left to decay naturally, wolf packs, lynx, and rare woodpecker species thriving in the untouched environment. Danube Delta, Romania. This is where the Europe's second longest river ends its journey. The Danube Delta in Romania is one of the most vibrant and biodiverse wetlands on Earth, where land, water, and sky seem to merge into one. After traveling 2,800 kilometers from the Black Forest in Germany, the Danube splits into countless channels and lagoons, creating a labyrinth of life that stretches over 4,000 square kilometers. It's Europe's largest continuous marshland, a world of willows, reeds, and endless reflections. Here, more than 300 species of birds find refuge, from elegant pelicans to herons, storks, and eagles. It's a paradise for ornithologists, where migrations turn the sky into a moving canvas. The delta also shelters over 100 species of fish, including the ancient sturgeon that once made this region famous for caviar. UNESCO declared the delta a World Heritage Site and Biosphere Reserve in 1991, recognizing its global importance. Scientists see it as one of Europe's last untouched river deltas, a natural laboratory showing how ecosystems can thrive when left undisturbed. Geysir, Iceland, located in the Hákonardalur Valley of Iceland, is the famous geothermal area that gave its name to geysers around the world. The Great Geyser itself, once capable of hurling boiling water up to 70 meters into the air, is now mostly dormant, but the nearby Stråkar Geyser more than makes up for it by erupting every 5 to 10 minutes, sending water up to 20 to 30 meters high. This geothermal wonderland is one of the primary stops on Iceland's popular Golden Circle route, attracting thousands of tourists who come to witness the raw power of the earth in action. The area is rich in geothermal features, including bubbling mud pots, fumaroles, and hot springs, all surrounded by a landscape of vibrant mineral deposits that give the ground a kaleidoscope of colors. An interesting fact about Geysir is that it has been active for over 10,000 years, and its eruptions have been documented as far back as the 13th century. Walking among the steamy vents and witnessing the sudden eruptions of Stråkar is definitely an unforgettable experience. Belogradchik Rocks, Bulgaria. In northwestern Bulgaria, near the town of Belogradchik, nature has sculpted an entire city of rock, towers, castles, and creatures frozen in time. These are the Belogradchik Rocks, a geological wonder as surreal as it is ancient. Formed over 230 million years ago, the rocks were shaped by wind, rain, and frost into bizarre red sandstone formations rising up to 200 meters high. Some resemble people, others animals, each with a name and legend. There's the Madonna, the Rider, the Bear, and the Schoolgirl, each wrapped in folklore passed down through generations. The rocks surround the Belogradchik fortress, a stronghold first built by the Romans and later expanded by the Ottomans. Imagine soldiers stationed here centuries ago, their walls merging seamlessly with nature's stone ramparts. It's one of the few fortresses in the world literally carved into the landscape. Archaeologists have found evidence that prehistoric humans once sought shelter here, proof that this site has always been a place of both protection and mystery. In spring and summer, the valley below bursts with wildflowers and orchids, contrasting vividly against the red rock. The area is now part of a protected natural landmark. At sunset, when shadows stretch across the cliffs, the Belogradchik rocks seem alive again, ancient guardians watching over Bulgaria's frontier. Hansoerles, Belgium. Located in the province of Namur, the caves of Han are among Europe's most impressive limestone cave systems. Formed over millions of years by the Lesse River as it carved its way through the limestone plateau of the Femen, the cave system stretches more than 2 kilometers, with massive chambers like the saldarms, stalactites, stalagmites, and an underground river that visitors explore via guided tours. One of the cave's unique features is the natural sound and light show, which dramatizes the power of nature inside the enormous cathedral hall. Above ground, the Han Wildlife Park protects native European species. Archaeological discoveries show humans have used the caves since the Neolithic period, and the site was long considered sacred. Hansoerles has become a symbol of Belgium's commitment to geological preservation and sustainable tourism, earning it a spot as a UNESCO Global Geopark. Orheiol-Veki Canyon and Route River Valley, Moldova. Here, the Route River cuts deep into limestone, creating a canyon where ancient fortresses, cave monasteries, and timeless villages tell the story of Moldova's soul. This Moldova's most iconic landmark is not a castle or a city, but a canyon carved by the Route River. The Orheiol-Veki Canyon is a breathtaking natural amphitheater of limestone cliffs where history and geology intertwine. The meandering Route River, once a tributary of the mighty Dniester, has cut its way through soft limestone for millions of years, leaving behind dramatic ridges, caves, and terraces. Archaeologists have discovered traces of human habitation here dating back 40,000 years, including the Dacian fortresses that resisted Roman conquest and later medieval settlements built into the rock. The site is perhaps most famous for its cave monasteries, dug by Orthodox monks as early as the 13th century, where candlelit chapels still function today. Standing at the top of the Budaceni cliff, one sees not just a valley, but an open-air museum of Moldova's entire story. Scythian tribes, medieval Moldavian princes, Ottoman invasions, and the endurance of rural life, where villagers still farm the fertile terraces as their ancestors did. Beyond the historical richness, the canyon is alive with biodiversity. Falcons nest in its cliffs, while wildflowers and aromatic herbs scent the slopes. Visiting Orheiol-Veki is like stepping into a layered tapestry where natural wonder and cultural heritage weave together seamlessly. The Devil's Pulpit, Scotland. To reach it, you must descend the worn, slippery, and moss-covered steps of Finnick Glen, known poetically as the Devil's Steps. This descent of over 100 steps feels like traveling back in time, into a hidden, primordial world. The gorge itself is a deep, narrow cleft in the red sandstone, carved by glacial meltwater over millennia. The light filters weakly down to the stream below, which, due to its mineral content and the light-diffusing properties of the red rock, flows a startling, perpetual blood red or rusty orange. The namesake pulpit is a large, flat-topped rock jutting from the wall midstream. Local legend is unequivocal. This is where the devil himself would stand to preach to his gathered followers in the chasm below. The atmosphere is damp, cool, and intensely atmospheric, a hidden pocket of pure folklore. It's worth noting that access has become a point of conservation concern, as the steps have eroded significantly from increased visitor numbers. Grynen, Denmark. Do you want to see what happens when two seas collide? Then you should travel to Grynen. At Grynen, the northernmost tip of Denmark, the Skagerrak and Kattegat seas meet in a spectacular natural display where waves from opposing directions crash into each other. This is not just a geographical curiosity. It's a dynamic and ever-changing spot where the currents are so strong that swimming is forbidden. Grynen is part of the Skagen-Odda Peninsula, a landform shaped by centuries of sand deposition, which continues to extend the point further into the sea. This dramatic point has long fascinated scientists, artists, and travelers. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the area inspired the famous Skagen painters, a group of Danish artists who captured the unique light and stark beauty of the region. Grynen also has maritime importance. It's been a critical navigation point for centuries and a notorious site for shipwrecks due to its treacherous waters. Seals frequently bask on the shores, and migrating birds use the area as a stopover. The Danish royal family even maintains a summer residence in nearby Skagen, underscoring the area's cultural and natural value. A tractor bus called the Sanderman takes you out to the tip, making the journey accessible and safe while adding a bit of charm to the experience. Dune du Pilat, France. This is Europe's tallest sand dune can be found in France. The Dune du Pilat, located on the Atlantic coast near Bordeaux, is a geological wonder stretching over 500 meters wide and towering at about 110 meters above sea level. This colossal dune is constantly shifting, pushed by strong Atlantic winds, moving inland by several meters each year. The dune offers a striking contrast between the forest of Landis on one side and the vast ocean on the other. Its origins date back over 4,000 years, formed by accumulating sands from the nearby Arcachon Bay. Climbing the dune is an adventure in itself, and at the top, you're rewarded with panoramic views of the Atlantic coastline, Arcachon Bay, and Cap Ferret. Over the years, this natural monument has been a strategic location, especially during World War II, when bunkers were installed along the coast to defend against possible invasions. Today, Dune du Pilat is a hotspot for paragliders, nature lovers, and those fascinated by its ever-changing landscape. Bavarian Alps, Germany. Have you ever dreamed of exploring snow-capped peaks, crystal-clear lakes, and charming alpine villages? The Bavarian Alps, located along Germany's southern border with Austria, offer all this and more. This stunning mountain range is home to Germany's highest peak, the Zugspitze, which rises 2,962 meters above sea level with majestic views of the surrounding Alps. The Bavarian Alps are also rich in history and culture. The iconic Neuschwanstein Castle, perched on a hilltop, is straight out of a fairy tale and was the inspiration for Disney's Cinderella Castle. King Ludwig II, who built Neuschwanstein, was so captivated by the beauty of the Bavarian Alps that he made them the backdrop for his dreamlike palace. The Alps are also home to the serene Conic Sea, a deep glacial lake with emerald green waters, perfect for boat tours and scenic hikes. During the Napoleonic Wars, the Alps served as natural fortifications, protecting the region from invading forces. The rugged landscape is also a hotspot for winter sports, attracting skiers and snowboarders from all over the world. The region is rich in alpine flora and fauna, with wildflowers like the edelweiss and animals like chamois and red deer making it their home. Għajn Tuffieħa, Malta. Situated on the island's western coast, This bay is famous for its golden sands, backed by rolling hills and steep cliffs. The name directly translates to apple's eye, although its exact origin remains somewhat mysterious. To reach the beach, visitors must descend a long staircase, which adds to its secluded atmosphere. Għajn Tuffieħa is part of a protected area, ensuring its natural beauty remains untouched by development. Its clear waters are perfect for swimming, while the surrounding cliffs provide excellent hiking opportunities, offering panoramic views of the bay. Sunsets here are legendary, casting a golden glow over the landscape. This spot is a favorite for those looking to experience Malta's raw natural beauty without the crowds. Picos de Europa National Park, Spain. This is Spain's very first national park, established in 1918. Nestled in the Cantabrian Mountains, this rugged and dramatic region spans parts of Asturias, Cantabria, and Castile and Leon. Its name, Peaks of Europe, comes from sailors who reportedly spotted its snow-covered peaks from the Atlantic, using them as a navigational landmark. The park is home to limestone massifs that rise steeply from deep gorges carved by glacial rivers, such as the iconic Ker's Gorge. Wildlife thrives here. Golden eagles soar overhead, Cantabrian brown bears wander the forests, and chamois leap between crags. Picos de Europa was also a strategic area during the Spanish Civil War, where its difficult terrain became both a refuge and a battlefield. The Covadonga Lakes, a glacial lake duo set high in the mountains, are not only a scenic highlight but also near the revered sanctuary of Covadonga, where Christian forces won a pivotal battle against the Moors in 722 AD, marking the beginning of the Reconquista. With karst landscapes, ancient beech forests, and deep-rooted folklore, this park blends natural splendor with historical significance. Geysir National Park, Norway. What does it feel like to stand on ice that's older than the pyramids? Geysir National Park, you can do exactly that. Home to Geysir, the largest glacier on mainland Europe, this park is a colossal monument to the Ice Age, where you can literally walk on history. The glacier stretches around 60 kilometers long and up to 600 meters thick in places, feeding more than 50 glacial arms that snake into valleys below. This glacier dominates the park's landscape, feeding dozens of icy arms like Briksdalbreen and Nygårdsbreen that snake into lush valleys far below. The park itself spans over 1,300 square kilometers across Vestland County, with extreme contrasts, towering peaks over 2,000 meters high, deep fjords, roaring rivers, waterfalls, and meadows bursting with life during summer. It's not just a showcase of dramatic natural beauty. It's a living museum of ice, stone, and time. One of the park's most famous features is Briksdal Glacier, a massive icefall that plunges down a steep mountainside into a turquoise glacial lake. It's one of the few glacial arms easily accessible. In the 19th century, Briksdal became a hotspot for European travelers, marking the rise of tourism in the Norwegian fjords. Victorian adventurers once reached the glacier on horseback, but today, electric carts and well-maintained trails make it reachable for nearly everyone. But even as it remains a bucket list destination, Briksdal also tells a sobering tale. Since the late 1990s, it has retreated dramatically, becoming a visible symbol of global climate change. Ice markers show where the glacier used to reach just a few decades ago. The broader Østerdalsbyen National Park offers even more. Ice caves glowing blue beneath the surface, glacial rivers carving valleys, and alpine ecosystems teeming with hardy species. The glacier itself acts like a slow-moving river of frozen time, advancing or retreating depending on snow accumulation and temperature. During the Little Ice Age, roughly 1300 to 1850, parts of the glacier surged forward, swallowing farmland and even forcing villages to relocate. Old stone fences, tools, and buildings have been found beneath retreating ice, revealing how people once lived right up against these icy giants. And that's the end of our journey through Europe's majestic natural wonders. We've traded history books for ancient mountains and city squares for vast, untouched wilderness. If you loved seeing Europe's wild side, please hit the like button to show your support and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a journey to the most incredible places on Earth. Let us know in the comments below, which of these natural wonders is now at the top of your travel bucket list. Until next time, happy travels.